Very rarely I am left with my jaw on the ground. Most of the time, I've been rather desensitized from modern media. But recently, with this whole baby reindeer situation, my jaw is not only on the ground, my hands are on the side of my face like this as I watch it unfold. I recently watched the TV show Baby Reindeer, and I thought it was a masterpiece. And I'll go more into that in a second. But with this new interview coming out with Piers Morgan, my jaw is on the ground. This is this is comedy gold. This is a reality TV show unfolding in front of my eyes. I can't look away. It's horrific, but I can't stop watching. For those of you that might not know, Baby Reindeer is this Netflix exclusive show where it follows Richard Gadd, who is both the man that experienced this and also the actor. It follows him dealing with a stalker, this woman who both harassed him verbally, physically, and even sexually at one point. It follows his experience with that and his struggles with it, and it also shows his struggles from earlier on in his life and his comedy career. All these struggles are surrounded with drugs, sexual assault, and even the R word, which was extremely crazy. He had wanted to become a comedian and had found this huge comedian, and he wanted to follow in his footsteps to become successful, and became victimized and would often rationalize it in hopes of succeeding, which was something that has been discussed a lot in the industry and something that needs to be brought forth more is the victimization of people in order to succeed. And talking about things that need to be represented more, Baby Randy was able to do an amazing representation of male essay that honestly we haven't seen anything like this up until now. It's extremely raw and uncut. It feels like you're living in that moment, and there's so many times you just want to reach through the screen and save Richard Gadd from some of the decisions that he makes, or from the situations that he had to be in. You know, and it was just such a good show. I would honestly say it's probably one of the best shows I've seen all year. It was just so real and genuine. And recently, because social media is the way it is, people really want to figure out who, in the show, she was called Martha, but that's not her real name, was. Because she sent him thousands of emails, over, I want to say 300 hours of voicemails, multiple Facebook accounts, cost him a relationship, and would just ruin his life for almost a year. So recently, people investigated and they actually found her. And so she decided to come forward in this public interview with Piers Morgan. Now, the Piers Morgan interview is right around, I want to say, 50 minutes worth of content. And honestly, that's a lot for me to remember and break down. So I'm just going to be giving you guys a little taste of these highlighted moments. My best suggestion would be for you guys to actually go watch it. It's uploaded on YouTube here, under like Piers Morgan's YouTube channel. You just type in Piers Morgan Baby Reindeer and it'll pop up. So I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna point a couple things out, and you guys can go find clips or whatever. I'm gonna point them out, and then I'm gonna discuss how I see Martha, aka Fiona Harvey, after this situation. So first off, Fiona claims she had no idea where Richard Gadd ever lived, but then shortly after that admitted she didn't know where he lived because she would send letters to his address. She only claimed to have sent one because she had seen the interview about him discussing his victimization and was saying, hey, it's not your fault. The second thing that she claimed that the hanging your curtains was actually a joke that Richard himself made to her as he was coming on to her. But interesting enough, if you were to go onto her Twitter, she says, I really need my curtains hung. And when Piers brought it up, she said, "Oh, it was me and my group of friends. We were teasing him, playing him. You know, he wants it so bad. I had to tease him. I had to mess with him a little bit." And just all in all, with this interview, when she was talking, with the way she was acting, it honestly felt like, hey, this is Martha. You know, Fiona really didn't do a lot to make me feel like she wasn't Martha. You know, I think, and I'm not 100% sure here, so Google it. But I think one of her lines at the end about go find a real job and get a life was from the TV show. Like, I'm pretty sure she said that as that quote in the TV show. And that laugh, I know, was from the TV show. And just the way that she was so contradictory with what's going on, so unemotional, and so like, no, 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 actually, mom, like she didn't have the stuff lined up. And she claims she's a lawyer. All right. I feel like, in my opinion, all right, a lawyer that is being prosecuted for SA is gonna sit there and make sure that their story is good and they know all the details. They're not gonna come in there and be like, well, contradicting themselves, you know? And the whole time she was kind of emotionless and she just denied liking Richard the whole time. But some people even cross reference her Twitter post talking about how she turned 51 and her boy toy was 26 at the time that Richard was 26. And she made some other references to a boy toy around the time that Richard, that would line up. It would line up. And all of this, I feel like, just proves it further. You know, Netflix said, hey, yes, there are emails. Richard claims he has all this stuff saved. And although Richard had his own flaws, I completely believe Richard is in the right. Like, I think everything he's saying is the truth, and I'm not going to sit here and dispute it, I think if he has this evidence, he's going to have it, He was obsessed with her to the point that he was obsessed with the solution, So I completely believe Richard is there. Fiona could have brought it and been like, here's my emails, blah, blah, blah. She really didn't. I feel like she wasn't prepared. It was weird. For those of you that haven't watched the interview, Fiona is planning on suing Richard, Netflix, and quite a few other people. On top of that, she's angry at Piers Morgan right now. She actually went on social media and insulted him, I think on Twitter, saying... So, I was wrong. She actually did not insult Piers Morgan. I thought somewhere she had said he was rude, but I could be wrong. I couldn't find that, so I'm not going to say that that's what happened. But I did find that she is currently, right now, angry, and I don't know if she's trying to sue or just throwing a protest, saying that Piers Morgan owes her way more than he paid her. She's claiming he owes her, I want to say, 1.25 million pounds, saying that the interview was huge and he owes her that. Piers Morgan is pretty much just laughing in her face, and I want to go back and just say that I think this is a theme throughout the whole interview where we just see a complete level of delusion with Fiona, both diluting how she looked at the situation and her importance and the severity of the situation. She was not prepared. She did not understand and tread on these topics lightly. She's deluded. All in all, I would say, based off of what I've seen in Baby Reindeer and what I've seen off this interview, Fiona Harvey probably has some mental issues that need to be dealt with. It seems like Richard Gadd also had some issues, but he dealt with them, because now he's wanting to talk about this in more of an open manner. But this whole situation is just an insane situation. I think something that we just need to sit down and look at, because there are some real issues here, The industry victimizing him, how people reacted to male SA victims, those do exist, and I think we need more representation of that, and addressing the issue that people aren't open to it. And honestly, this whole situation in general, I feel like was just a huge eye-opener about, you got to be honest about if the story's true or not. It's just so many different things. Like, you got to be more willing about SA, more willing to learn about SA. My bad. Um, there's just a lot of areas that I feel like the show hit on, both within the show and outside of the show, in which we as a community can improve on. And I think Richard Gadd made a masterpiece here. And honestly, I feel like this is not the end of what we've heard from Fiona. I feel like we're definitely going to see some more of her coming soon. And yeah, if you guys like this style video, let me know down in the comments. I hope you all have a great one. And check out my other videos while you're here.